I wasn't supposed to see his phone. That's the first thing I always tell myself when I replay that night. I wasn't snooping. I wasn't going through his pockets or guessing his passcode or trying to trap him. I was just washing dishes. The kids were already in bed, the TV was humming quietly in the living room, and the kitchen smelled like dish soap and the faint remains of garlic from dinner. Daniel's phone was on the counter beside the fruit bowl, screen down, case slightly chipped from where he dropped it on the driveway last week. It buzzed once. I ignored it. It buzzed again. I glanced at it. A notification flashed briefly on the black screen. Lena, you can't tell her. Not yet. The name hit me before the words did. Lena, my little sister. My first instinct was simple, stupid denial. Maybe it's another Lena. Maybe it's work. Maybe it's nothing. Then it buzzed again. Lena, promise me, Daniel. My hand was still in the sink. The plates clinked against each other under the soapy water, my fingers pruning and numb, but the rest of my body went cold. I took my hands out of the water and dried them slowly on the dish towel, watching the phone like it was a live grenade. We weren't the kind of couple who went through each other's phones. At least, that's what I liked to believe. We were mature, respectful, modern. We had passwords we never asked for and separate clouds that never crossed. But my sister's name glowing on my husband's screen was not part of any agreement. Another buzz. This time the notification didn't disappear right away. I saw the whole preview. Lena, she'll never forgive either of us if she finds out like this. The room tilted. For a second, I thought I might pass out right there, among the lemon-scented bubbles and cereal bowls. She, in that sentence, could only be me. I didn't remember making the choice to pick up his phone. The next thing I knew, it was in my hand, heavier than I expected. My thumb hovered over the screen. One more vibration. I flinched. This time, it didn't light up. Someone was calling instead. I glanced down. Daniel calling. I stared at his name. My husband was calling his own phone. He must have realized he'd left it at home. I let it ring. The sound seemed too loud in the quiet house. On the 10th ring, it stopped. I set the phone back down and stepped away like it burned. I didn't unlock it. I didn't go digging. Not yet. Instead, I stood in the middle of my kitchen, hands still. Damp, heart beating so hard I could feel it in my throat, and I tried to convince myself there was a reasonable explanation. Maybe they were planning something for me. A surprise, an intervention, a gift, a vacation, something. The front door opened a few minutes later, and Daniel walked in, hair damp from the drizzle outside, keys jingling. Hey, he said, kicking off his shoes. I forgot my phone. You see it? I watched him as if I had never seen him before. Same gray hoodie, same tired eyes. The man who knew how I liked my coffee and which song always made me cry. The man who slept beside me for 13 years. I wiped my hands on my jeans. Yeah, I said, it's on the counter. He smiled at me, quick, easy, like nothing was wrong, like nothing in our lives had shifted 3 inches out of place. I watched him pick up the phone, glance at the screen, then at me. His smile faltered for half a second. Barely noticeable. If I hadn't been watching for it, I would have missed it. Then it was back. Everything okay? He asked. I swallowed. Yeah, I lied. Why wouldn't it be? He shrugged, kissed my forehead, and walked past me, carrying his phone like it was nothing more than a piece of metal and glass. But I knew better now. That night, lying beside him in the dark, I kept seeing my sister's name. Lena. I told myself I would talk to her in the morning. That I would get the truth straight from her before I let my imagination destroy everything. I didn't sleep. The next morning, I woke up before my alarm. Daniel was already up, shower running in the bathroom, steam curling under the door. His side of the bed was warm but empty. I stared at the ceiling, rehearsing. Don't sound accusatory. Don't sound crazy. Don't say I saw messages. Just ask. By the time he came out, towel around his waist, I had convinced myself I could do it. Hey, I said, trying to sound casual. Have you talked to Lena recently? He froze mid-step, just for a heartbeat, before recovering. Yeah, he said. Why? Everything okay? I smiled too quickly. Just asking. I haven't heard from her in a while. That's not true, he said slowly. Didn't you go shopping with her last week? He wasn't wrong. We had gone to a discount store to look at lamps and shoes we couldn't afford but tried on anyway. We had eaten greasy food in the food court and laughed about our mother. Everything had felt normal then. Right, I said. I mean more lately. He studied me for a second, then turned away. She's fine, he said. Busy. You know how she is. I wanted to ask, busy with what? Busy texting you? Busy asking you to keep secrets from me? But the words stayed stuck in my throat. Instead, I got out of bed and started my own routine. Make breakfast, pack lunches, sign permission slips, phone on the counter, eyes on the clock. At 10:37 a.m., after Daniel had gone to work and the kids were at school, I finally called her. She answered on the second ring. Hey, big sister, she said, voice bright. To what do I owe the honor? Hey, I said, you busy? Just pretending to work. What's up? My mouth went dry. I tried the soft approach. Just wanted to hear your voice, I said. We haven't really talked in a while. Wow, she laughed. You're right. Something's wrong. Are you dying? Is mom dying? Is the cat dying? I forced a smile even though she couldn't see it. No one's dying, I said. I just had kind of a weird moment last night. Silence on the other end. She cleared her throat. What kind of weird? She asked. Here it was. The crossroad. I could lie. I could say I had a bad dream, or a strange feeling, or that I just missed her. Or I could tell the truth and watch whatever was left of my world rearrange itself. I saw a message, I said. On Daniel's phone. From you. The silence that followed was loud. How? She finally asked, voice smaller now. It was on the counter. It lit up. I didn't go digging, I swear, I just saw it. What did it say? I closed my eyes, remembering the exact words. You wrote, you can't tell her. Not yet, I swallowed. And then, she'll never forgive either of us if she finds out like this. I could hear her breathing on the other end. Not calm, not casual. Lena, I whispered, what's going on? When she spoke again, her voice was shaking. I was going to tell you, she said. I swear to God, I was going to tell you. I needed more time. Tell me what? I asked, my own voice rising. She said, using the nickname only she used when things were serious. This is not a phone conversation. I laughed a short, ugly sound. It was a phone conversation when you had it with my husband. That's not fair, she said quickly. It's not what you think. Then what is it? I snapped. Because right now, what I think is the only thing I have. She inhaled sharply. Can you come over? She asked. After work? Or I can come to you. Just please. Face to face. I felt the first real wave of fear crash through me then. Are you okay? I asked quietly. Are you in trouble? Are you sick? Yes, she said. Then, almost immediately. No. I pressed my fingers to my temple. That's not an answer. It's the only one I can give until I see you, she said. Please, just don't go through his phone. Don't do this to yourself before you hear me out. The fact that she knew my next move before I did didn't help. I stared at the fruit bowl on my own counter, mirroring last night. I'll come by after I drop the kids off at mom's this weekend, I said. You'll tell me everything then. I will, she whispered. I promise. We hung up. I stared at my own reflection in the dark TV screen. I had always thought betrayal would feel like an explosion, loud, visible, undeniable. Instead, it felt like a slow leak. The kind you don't notice until you're ankle deep in water and the floorboards are rotting. Lena's apartment always smelled like something burning. Not in a scary way, more like she never quite figured out how long to toast bread without turning it into charcoal. The hall light in her building flickered, buzzing faintly, and the stairwell always seemed too warm. When I knocked on her door that Saturday, my hand was shaking. She opened it quickly, like she'd been standing right behind it. Hey, she said. She looked smaller somehow. Her hair was tied up messily, dark circles under her eyes that concealer didn't fully hide. She was wearing my old college sweatshirt. You look tired, I said. You look like you haven't slept in a year, she replied. We tried to smile. It didn't work. Come in, she said, stepping aside. I walked into the familiar mess, half-empty coffee cups, an open laptop on the couch, a blanket thrown over the armrest. A plant that was either dying or thriving in a way I didn't understand. We sat facing each other at her tiny kitchen table. She fidgeted with the hem of her sleeve. So, she said, you saw the messages. Some of them, I said. Enough to know there were more. Her eyes filled with something I didn't want to name. How long have you and Daniel been talking behind my back? I asked. Her head snapped up. It's not like that. Then what is it like? I demanded. Because, you can't tell her, not yet. Doesn't sound like you two were discussing my birthday party. She took a deep breath. I'm pregnant, she said. The words dropped into the space between us and rolled toward my feet. For a second, all I could do was stare. My mind pulled together images fast. Lena holding a tiny baby. Lena wearing maternity clothes. Lena with Daniel's hands on her swollen belly. No, she said quickly, reading it on my face. No. Oh my God, no. It's not his. I would never, I swear on Mom, I would never do that to you. My shoulders sagged as if someone had cut the strings. I didn't realize until that exact moment how much I had already believed the worst. How much of me had already started mourning a marriage that hadn't fully died yet. I exhaled. Okay, I whispered. Then why is my husband part of this at all? She looked down at her hands. Because he's the one who took me to the clinic, she said. He's the one who drove me home. He's the one who knows. Knows what? I asked. That you're pregnant? Why wouldn't you tell me first? She laughed bitterly. Because I didn't stay pregnant, she said. And because I knew what you would say. I stared at her. What does that mean? I asked. It means, she said slowly, I didn't keep it, The room went very still. You had an abortion, I said quietly. She nodded. The words sat in my mouth, heavy and complicated. I felt a rush of emotions I couldn't separate. Sadness, anger, guilt, protectiveness, confusion. Why didn't you tell me? I whispered. You're my sister. Because you're my sister, she shot back. And you're a mother. You have 2 kids and a minivan and a husband and PTA meetings. I knew you'd see it differently. I needed someone who wouldn't look at me and see a murderer. I flinched. I would never. You don't know that, she said. You don't know what you would have thought in the middle of the night when you woke up and remembered what I did. I opened my mouth, then closed it. And Daniel? I asked. How did he get involved in this? She leaned back, eyes on the ceiling. I called him by accident, she said. I meant to call Mom when I was at the but I hit the wrong contact. He was closest to the hospital. He showed up before I could even hang up. He stayed. He signed papers because my hands were shaking. He drove me home. He made sure I didn't do something stupid afterward. Her voice broke on the last word. I told him not to tell you, she continued, because I was ashamed. Because I didn't want to see that look on your face. What look? I asked. This one, she said, gesturing at me with red-rimmed eyes. I didn't know what my face was doing. I only knew that it felt like I was wearing all my skin wrong. So, I said slowly, these secret messages, this, you can't tell her, not yet, it was about this? About you terminating a pregnancy? She nodded. And him keeping it from me. Yes, I laughed then, a raw sound. So my husband and my sister have been carrying this enormous secret about life and death and blood and shame between them, I said. And I'm supposed to just understand? You were supposed to hear it from me, she said quietly. Not from a screen. Not like that. I shook my head. You know what hurts the most? I said. Not that he was there for you. Not that you made a choice I might not have made. Not even the secrecy. Then what? She whispered. That when everything fell apart for you, I said, you reached for him, not me. There it was, the heart of it. She closed her eyes. I didn't call him instead of you, she said. I called the wrong Daniels. Yours just picked up. I froze. You have another Daniel? I asked. She nodded weakly. The guy who left when he found out I was pregnant, she said. The one who blocked my number. I hit the wrong Daniel. Yours came. Mine didn't. Something in my chest cracked then. Something old and tender and built on years of being the responsible one, the stable one, the one who always picked her up when she fell. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry. Tears I didn't know I'd been holding back finally spilled over. I don't know if I'm more hurt that you didn't trust me, I said, or that I understand why you didn't. We sat in silence for a long time. The refrigerator hummed. A car honked outside. Someone upstairs stomped across their living room. Is that all? I asked finally. Is there anything else going on between you and my husband that I should know? No, she said firmly. He is your husband, Em. He didn't touch me. He didn't cross that line. He was just there, when no one else was. I wiped my face. That's kind of the problem, I said. He's supposed to be there for me first. She lowered her eyes. I know. When I left her apartment, the hallway light was still flickering. The air smelled like burnt toast. I pressed my back against the closed elevator door and slid down until I was sitting on the floor, knees to my chest. I believed her. Somehow, through all the lies and omissions, I believed her. But believing her didn't make the betrayal feel any smaller. It just made it different. Less like a knife, more like a fracture, something that might heal wrong. By the time I got home, the kids were back from my mom's, cartoon voices echoing from the living room. Daniel was on the couch, laptop open, pretending to work while half watching them. He looked up when I came in. Hey, he said, how was Lena? I dropped my keys in the bowl by the door. Interesting, I said. He closed the laptop slowly. Okay, he said, that sounds like the beginning of a conversation I'm not ready for. I almost smiled, despite everything. Too bad, I said. I am. He sent the kids to play in their room and met me at the kitchen table like we were about to negotiate a contract. He sat across from me, hands folded. I know you saw something on my phone, he said. The directness surprised me. What gave it away? I asked. The sudden eye contact this morning or the fact that you've barely touched your phone since you walked in? He gave a humorless huff. Both, he admitted. I didn't dance around it. I talked to Lena, I said. She told me everything. His shoulders dropped with visible relief. So you know, he said. Good. I was trying to figure out how to explain it without making it worse. Explain what? I asked. That my sister was pregnant and lost it? Or that you were the one holding her hand through it instead of me? He winced. She called me, he said. I didn't choose to be the one she reached out to. But you chose to keep it from me, I shot back. He didn't deny it. I did, he said quietly. Because she begged me to. She was terrified. She was ashamed. She thought you'd never look at her the same way. And you? I asked. How do you look at her now? As someone who went through hell, he said. Alone. Until I got there. The way he said it made something ugly twist inside me. You talk like you're some kind of hero, I said. He shook his head. I'm not, he replied. I'm just someone who was in the wrong place with the right car keys. For a moment, neither of us spoke. I'm not mad you helped her, I said. I'm mad you decided I couldn't be trusted with the truth. I didn't decide that, he argued. She did. You're my husband, I said, voice shaking. You didn't think I deserved a vote? He rubbed his face with both hands. I was trying to protect you, he said. We've already been drowning with work and kids and bills. You've barely been sleeping. I thought if I added this on top, you'd break. I laughed, sharp and bitter. Newsflash, I said, being the only one who doesn't know the truth. That's a better way to break me. He looked at me then, really looked, and his face softened. You're right, he said. I handled it badly. Badly? I repeated. You lied to me by omission for months. I didn't lie, he said. I just didn't tell you. I stared at him. Say that again, I said. He swallowed. I know how it sounds, he said. But I was stuck, Em. If I told you, I'd be betraying your sister. If I didn't, I was betraying you. Either way, I was the bad guy. You chose your bad guy, I said. You chose her. The words hung there. He opened his mouth, then closed it. I chose the person who was bleeding in front of me, he said finally. Because you weren't in the room. I felt the impact of that like a slap. So if I want you to choose me, I said, I have to be actively bleeding on the floor? That's not what I meant, he said quickly. But that's what you said, I replied. We sat in silence again. It was amazing how many silences could fit into one kitchen. Are you angry at her? He asked cautiously. I don't know yet, I said. I'm still stuck on being angry at you. He nodded, accepting it. I can live with that, he said. I'm not sure I can, I whispered. He looked tired all of a sudden. We can go to counseling, he said. Talk it through. I'll tell the therapist everything. I'll let them rip me apart if that's what it takes. You really think a stranger can stitch this back together? I asked. I don't know, he replied. But I'm willing to try. I looked at the man I had built a life with. The man who had been there for my sister when I wasn't. The man who had decided I was too fragile for the truth. I need time, I said. Okay, he said. Take it. That night, we lay in the same bed, facing opposite walls. The distance between us felt like an ocean. We didn't touch. We barely breathe. News like this doesn't stay confined to one house. Families, especially ours, are made of thin walls and thin patience. My mother found out first. Not about the clinic. About the fight. You sound tired, she said over the phone a week later. I am, I said. What's wrong? Nothing, I lied automatically. Don't do that, she said. I've known your voice since before you knew your own name. Talk, I sighed. Lena and I had a disagreement, I said. Oh God, she groaned. What did she do now? I hesitated. It's not my story to tell, I said. Not all of it, but it's your mood I'm hearing, she said. So at least that part is mine. I didn't give her details. I just said enough for her to piece together something vague and incomplete. Your sister made a choice, Mom said finally. A hard one. A lonely one. And Daniel helped her. You knew? I asked, shocked. There are things I know, she said. Not because I was told, but because I remember being young and scared once too. So what? I'm the last to know. I asked. You were the one with the most to lose, she said. Sometimes people hide the worst things from the person they love the most. I don't feel very loved, I said. That's because love and pain often come in the same package, she replied. She had a way of making everything sound like a proverb. It didn't make it hurt less. Later, my uncle pulled me aside at a family barbecue. You okay, kiddo? He asked. I'm 38, I said. I'm not a kid. You're always a kid when your marriage is on fire, he answered. I stared at him. Who told you my marriage is? Your face, he said simply. We sat on the back steps, listening to someone's old playlist through cheap speakers. Let me guess, he said. You found out something you were never meant to find out. Now you're not sure if you're more mad about the thing, or about not being told the thing. I frowned. Did someone send out a memo? I asked. He smiled sadly. No, he said. I just recognized the look. Your aunt and I went through our own version once. I hadn't known that. What did she hide from you? I asked. Nothing, he said. I was the one hiding. Gambling, debt, nightmares. I thought if I didn't say it out loud, it wasn't real. But secrets rot the floor underneath you. By the time the ceiling caves in, you tell yourself it's the first crack. It's not. I picked at a splinter on the wood. So what did she do? I asked. She left, he said. For 6 weeks. Took the kids. Took the dog. Took the plants. I was alone with my secrets and my empty chairs. And then? I asked. Then she came back, he said. Not because she forgave me. Because she wanted to see whether I had forgiven myself enough to be better. And had you? I asked. Not at first, he replied. But eventually, yeah. He looked at me. I don't know the details of your thing, he said. And I don't want to. But I know this. You're allowed to be angry. You're allowed to take space. You're also allowed to realize that humans are messy and sometimes love shows up in places it shouldn't. Like a hospital hallway, I said. Exactly. He patted my shoulder and went back inside. I stayed on the steps, watching fireflies blink on and off in the dark. I thought about Lena in a sterile clinic room, clenching her jaw. I thought about Daniel, filling out forms with shaking hands that weren't his responsibility. I thought about myself, folding laundry in a house 2 neighborhoods away, believing everything was normal. The real breaking point didn't come from the past. It came from the future. Daniel and I tried counseling. We sat in a softly lit room with neutral walls and expensive tissues and told a stranger versions of the truth. I felt betrayed, I said. I felt stuck, he said. I felt replaced, I said. I felt cornered, he said. The therapist nodded, made notes, asked us to use I statements. We left each session feeling wrung out, like clothes someone had twisted dry. Slowly, very slowly, we found ways to talk around the worst parts without falling apart. One night, months after I'd first seen the messages, he made dinner. Actual dinner, not takeout, not boxed macaroni. I thought I'd give you a break, he said. We ate at the table like we were practicing being normal. At one point, he cleared his throat. There's something else we should talk about, he said. My stomach clenched. If this is another secret, I said, I'm not sure I have room for it. It's not a secret, he said. Just a topic we've been avoiding. Which is, more kids, he said. I blinked at him. We had always assumed we were done. 2 children, a boy and a girl, already stretching our schedules and our budget. Why now? I asked. Why this? Because sitting in that therapist's office, he said, talking about Lena and what she went through, it made me realize how fragile all of this is. Life, choices, timing. I felt a sharp, unexpected pain. You want another baby? I asked. I don't know, he said. Maybe. I just wanted to open the conversation. I stared at him. After everything that happened with my sister, I said, you want me to carry another life? In this body that still flinches when I think about what she did to hers. He looked startled. That's not what I know you didn't mean it that way, I said. But that's how it feels. He fell silent. I'm barely back to trusting you enough to sleep beside you, I continued. And you're already imagining a future where we've moved past this so cleanly that we're painting a nursery? He dropped his gaze. I was imagining a future where we're still together, he said. Where we've survived this. His words hung in the air. Do you want that? He asked quietly. A future with me, I mean. Not necessarily with more kids. Just us. I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. I don't know, I said finally. He swallowed. That's honest, he said. Painful, but honest. We cleared the table in silence. That night, I lay awake again, counting the cracks. Not in the ceiling. In us. The lie by omission. The phone. The messages. The clinic. The choices made without me. The counseling. The new conversations. Some cracks can be patched. Others are fault lines. Waiting. The day it all truly broke wasn't dramatic. There was no screaming. No thrown plates. No dramatic exits with suitcases rolling behind us. It was a Tuesday. I came home from work to find Lena sitting on my front steps. She stood when she saw me, wringing her hands. I need to talk to you, she said. Now's not a good time, I replied automatically. Please, she said. It's important. I sighed, unlocked the door, and let her in. Daniel was at the sink, rinsing dishes. He turned when he heard us, eyes flicking from me to her and back. What's going on? He asked. Lena took a breath. I told Mom, she said. My heart dropped. Told her what? I asked. About the clinic, she said. About Daniel. About you finding out. She didn't take it well. Of course she didn't. Our mother had always been strictest about 2 things. Family loyalty and appearances. Oh God, I muttered. What did she say? She said I disappointed her, Lena replied. She said you were right to be upset. She said Daniel should have told you. She said our family has always had a problem with secrets and she's tired of them rotting everyone from the inside out. Daniel leaned back against the counter, eyes closed. So now she knows, I said. She knows, Lena confirmed. But that's not why I'm here. I frowned. Then why? She looked at Daniel. Because she also told me something else, Lena said. Something about you too. I felt the ground shift again. What are you talking about? I asked. Lena swallowed. Mom said you had your own secret, she said slowly. About a pregnancy. A long time ago. Before the kids. The room went very quiet. I whipped my head toward Daniel. He froze. Is that true? I asked. He opened his mouth, then closed it again. Daniel, I said, voice shaking, is that true? He stared at the floor. Yes, he whispered. The air left my lungs. When? I asked. Before we got married, he said. Right after your dad died. We were a mess. We weren't ready. We told ourselves we'd have other chances. And we did. With the kids. So we never talked about it again. I blinked, stunned. How could I not remember something like that? I asked, voice small. Because you never knew, Lena said softly. That's the point. I looked between them, confused. What are you talking about? I asked. How could I have been pregnant and not know? You weren't the one who was pregnant, Daniel said quietly. The world stopped. Lena stepped closer. She whispered, it was me. My vision blurred. I don't understand, I stammered. Daniel finally met my eyes. In college, he said. Before we got serious. Before we were us. Lena and I were stupid and drunk and lonely one weekend. It was one time. We swore it would never happen again. Then she found out she was pregnant. We panicked. Your dad died 2 weeks later. We made a decision. Afterward, we swore we would never tell you. Then you and I happened. For real. For good. We thought it was behind us. I heard the words, but they didn't connect. You slept with my sister, I said slowly. Before we were married. She got pregnant. You two made the decision I just watched her make all over again. And you never told me. Tears were streaming down Lena's face. I was trying to protect you, she said. From this exact moment. I laughed, a sound that didn't feel like it belonged to me. You keep saying that, I said. You both keep saying that. You were protecting me from the truth, from pain, from burden. But all you did was move it down the road and make it bigger. Daniel started. I held up a hand. Don't, I said. Don't call me that right now. My chest felt like it was caving in. All this time, I whispered. All the holidays and birthdays and inside jokes and babysitting and Sunday dinners. And there was this thing between you. This shared secret. This ghost. Neither of them spoke. I looked at Lena. When you called the wrong Daniel that night, I said, are you sure it was wrong? Her face crumpled. Yes, she said. It was wrong because it hurt you. It was wrong because it dragged all of this back into the light. I nodded slowly. I thought the betrayal was that you kept her abortion from me, I said to Daniel. That you stood beside her in a hospital hallway and didn't tell me. But that wasn't the first time, was it? You've been standing beside her in hallways I didn't know about for most of my adult life. He took a step toward me. I love you, he said. I chose you. Every time. Did you? I asked. Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you chose silence. Over and over again. The room felt too small. I grabbed my keys. Where are you going? Lena asked, voice shaking. Away from the rot, I said. I didn't leave forever that day. Not physically. I went to a friend's house. I sat on her couch, drank water I couldn't taste, listened to her say things like oh my God and I have no words. She let me sleep in her guest room. The next morning, I went home. The kids needed breakfast, bills needed paying. Life, as always, refused to pause just because mine had cracked. Daniel and I moved around each other like ghosts for weeks. We were civil for the kids. We passed plates and signed forms and answered questions about homework. But at night, our bedroom became a museum of everything unsaid. He slept in the guest room eventually. It was his idea. I don't want to make you feel trapped, he said. I didn't argue. Lena texted, called, knocked. I ignored all of it. Finally, she sent one last message. I'll stop trying, but I'll always love you. I hope one day that won't be a burden. I stared at the screen until the words blurred. I didn't respond. Months went by. We went back to counseling, separately this time. The therapist asked me what I wanted. I don't know, I said. She waited. What don't you want? She asked. That, I said. Secrets that move in under my floorboards and live there for decades. A marriage built on partial truths. A family that thinks protecting me means lying to me. So, she said, what does that leave? Loneliness, I thought. Out loud, I said. Honesty, even if it hurts. In the end, Daniel and I didn't explode. We eroded. One day, we sat at the same kitchen table where so many of our worst conversations had started, and we finally had one that was clear. I can't trust the story of us anymore, I said. Not fully. I know, he said. I don't know how to build the rest of my life on top of something I keep discovering new floors under, I said. I know, he repeated. We have kids, I said. We'll always be family. But I don't think I can be your wife and your secret keeper and your confessor and your forgiver all at once. He nodded, eyes red. I love you, he said. That never changed. It never will. I believe you, I said. But I also believe that sometimes love is not enough. We filed the papers a few months later. No dramatic courtroom scene. Just signatures and nods and a clerk who'd seen it all before. Lena didn't come. I hadn't asked. The kids adjusted in the way kids often do, painfully, quietly, resiliently. They drew 2 houses instead of 1 when their teachers asked them to draw home. I got an apartment not far from the old place. Small, with thin walls and too much echo at night. Sometimes, when the wind rattles the windows just right, I think about all the hallways I never walked down. All the waiting rooms I never sat in. All the versions of my life that existed without my knowledge. I don't talk to Lena. Not yet, maybe not ever. Forgiveness is an open question I'm not ready to answer. People ask, sometimes, in hushed voices. Do you regret looking at his phone that night? I think about it. About the messages. About my sister's secret. About the older, deeper, uglier truth buried underneath. And I say, no. I regret that the truth was there to be found. Not that I found it. At night, in my too quiet apartment, I lie in a bed that belongs only to me. There's no other phone on the nightstand. No other heartbeat on the pillow. Just mine. For the first time in a long time, I know that whatever is being kept from me, it's not happening in the room next door. It's not a happy ending. But it's an honest one. And for now, that's all I have the strength to ask for.